At the start of the movie, we see a girl named Jessica who is covered in blood and injured. She enters her home, washes her face, changes her clothes, and finds her ring and wears it. Suddenly, she hears some noise and sees some men with guns have entered her house. She quickly opens the window and runs away from there towards the highway. We see that she has hidden herself on a truck of an unknown man. She looks scared and running away from something. Next, we see a woman named Elsa who is taking her medicine and looks like she is sick. A person named Raymond comes to see her and tells her he has some work for her. We come to know Elsa works for Raymond and is a fixer who solves things. Raymond says that they have received a new contract to track a woman named Jessica who is on the run. Raymond says they have stopped Jessica before she crosses the border. We see Elsa's hand are shaking as she signs the file. When the truck stops, Jessica gets down and steals some biscuits and a map of the place from the truck. Later, she eats the biscuits and at night finds an old abandoned house to spend the night. She looks at her ring and while sleeping has a dream that she is captured and kept at some place. Elsa and her team are going through all camera surveillance and calls records to find Jessica. One team member, Vince, finds her footage of hiding in the truck and informs Elsa about her location. Elsa decides to follow her, and we see her hands are still shaking. In the morning, Jessica goes to a nearby house and steals some soup, but gets caught by Frank. Frank is a farmer who owns the place and has mercy on Jessica and invites her in for breakfast. Jessica eats her food very fast and seems very hungry. She meets Frank's wife Janie and tells her that says she is just traveling. Janie offers Jessica to take a bath, for which Jessica agrees. In the bathroom, Jessica does not take a bath, but steals some medicines from the cabinet. While leaving, Janie tells Jessica that Frank will drop her someplace down the road. Jessica asks Frank why is he helping her, and Frank says he is retired and wants to do something to spend his day. They travel together, and when the road ends, Jessica decides to get down. Frank says they have packed a small bag of her which has clothes, blanket, and food for her. Jessica takes the bag and thanks Frank for his kindness, who advises her to take care of herself. Next, we see Elsa, who is exercising in her room. Suddenly, she loses balance, falls, and injures her head. She applies some bandage on her head and sits down to chat with someone on computer. We see that Elsa is interviewing someone to be her caretaker. Elsa has been diagnosed with ALS recently and meets another patient suffering from same. ALS causes your own body to shut down one by one, and we saw Elsa's hand shaking before as a sign. The caretaker says Elsa needs to inform her family about this. The patient advises Elsa to not think about suicide during any time and be strong. We see Jessica is walking and exploring the roads she is traveling on. Vince tells Elsa they are not able to locate Jessica as she might be traveling on foot. Elsa tells Vince to find all people who have come in contact with Elsa. Later, we see a flashback of Jessica with her boyfriend Ian, who are in jungle playing cards. Jessica sees a dog there and decides to feed it some water and food. Ian tells her not to do as the dog might be feral and bite her, but she doesn't listen. Jessica wakes in the jungle from this dream and decides to continue her journey. We see Elsa is trying to use a walking stick to maintain her balance and talking to Vince also. Vince says he has talked to Elsa more than his own wife because of the nature of his work. Elsa says in their line of work there are no vacations, and she actually enjoys her work. Elsa sees some photos on the wall which show Jessica, Ian, and the dog who is dead now. Jessica goes to a bar and meets the bartender named Molly and asks her for some work. Molly offers a job as a waitress and cleaning lady at the bar, to which Jessica agrees. Raymond asks Elsa to find Jessica soon, for which Elsa says they require a bigger team. Raymond says they are on a deadline and says Elsa has 5 hours to track Jessica. Later, we see another flashback where we see Jessica has developed some rashes on her foot. Ian tells her it is because of the dog and also shows her his rashes, which look serious. In the evening, Molly asks Jessica about her ring, who says her boyfriend Ian gave her this. Molly also tells Jessica about her ex-husband who used to hit her, and she decided to leave him. After closing the bar, Molly offers Jessica to stay at her place and spend the night. Jessica accepts the invite and tells her she always wanted to travel and explore the world. Jessica says she comes from a small town and feels this is the right time to do so. Elsa is struggling to put the buttons on her shirt and gets a call about Farmer Frank's location who helped Jessica. Elsa goes to the Frank's place and wears antivirus suit to protect herself. She enters the house and says she is looking for Jessica who is suffering from a variant of Ebola virus. Elsa says the virus is contagious and causes blood hemorrhaging. Elsa is unable to find Frank or Janie inside, but sees some blood in the sink. She sees Janie outside and follows her to a shed, where she sees Janie crying. Elsa goes close to Janie and sees her hair is fallen. Her face is full of blood and eyes are different. Janie looks like a monster who attacks Elsa, and Elsa tries to run from there. Frank also attacks her from behind, who is also affected with the virus. Elsa shoots Frank and Janie and kills them in order to save her life. In another flashback, we see Ian coughing at night, and his rash has changed in something dangerous. Jessica is scared on seeing this and calls an ambulance and decides to take him to a hospital. The ambulance takes them to some other place where Jessica is taken out by some people. Elsa asks Raymond about the virus, who says that this virus was in the dog who escaped the laboratory. The dog was found by Jessica and Ian, and the virus chose Jessica as next host and changed. Raymond says it was necessary to kill the Frank and Janie to stop the outbreak of virus. Elsa is angry on Raymond and asks him about complete information about the virus. He says the virus is spreading through saliva, vomit, and blood of Jessica to others and spreads within 2 days of contact. Raymond says Jessica is a healthy carrier of the virus and not affected by it. We see Jessica is locked in a room in a basement of some laboratory and given some food. Raymond says Elsa needs to bring in Jessica soon before she spreads the virus. He says Jessica does not know about her condition and is running thinking she has murdered her boyfriend. Later, when the guard brings Jessica her food, he finds her room is dark and decides to go in to check on her. On entering the room, Jessica escapes from behind, but the guard manages to catch her. In order to escape from Jessica, kills the guard with the bulb from her room and sees Ian in another room. Ian is also looking like Janie and begs Jessica to help him and take him out of the room. Jessica is unable to open the room door and decides to leave from there when she hears the guard coming. Raymond tells Elsa that a company named Adengen, a pharmaceutical company, has hired them. The company works with the government and is responsible for creating the virus. Elsa says she does not work on this assignment and tells she wants to quit this since she is sick. Raymond says he knows about her condition and hence offered her the job as she is already dying. He says that Elsa is a workaholic and won't sit at home ideally and tells her to find Jessica dead or alive. In the morning, Jessica decides to go to market and informs Molly about this. When Molly does not respond, Jessica thinks she is sleeping and leaves from there. We see that Molly has been affected from the virus and her body has changed and she is unable to move. Vince finds Jessica in a video posted by a bar's customer and informs Elsa about her location. When Jessica is in the market, she stops to see a cat and Elsa sees her from her car. Jessica notices Elsa and decides to go from there, but Elsa decides to follow her. Elsa goes after Jessica and tries to stop her, but Jessica runs from there. Elsa tries to walk fast, but loses her balance and falls on the ground. He gets up and sees her glove is torn and she is injured and Jessica has escaped from there. Jessica comes home and finds Molly deformed and covered in blood on her bed. Vince and Raymond inform Elsa that since this is a small town, they don't have many CCTV cameras to search for Jessica. Elsa tells them to find information on all relatives of Molly to track Jessica. Jessica is crying and packs her bag and decides to leave the place. Suddenly, she hears a sound coming from Molly's room and decides to investigate it. On opening the room door, Molly attacks Jessica and tries to eat her. Jessica runs downstairs and Molly follows her down. Jessica finds a frying pan and hits Molly with it and breaks her head to kill her. Jessica cries in guilt and realizes that her own hair is also falling. Vince has managed to find Molly's address and informs Elsa about it. Elsa goes to Molly's house and sees her dead body through a window. She wears her suit and decides to go inside to find Jessica. Raymond asks her to wait for backup and orders her not to go. Elsa does not listen to him and finds Jessica in a house. Elsa points her gun at Jessica and tells her about the virus she is spreading. Jessica informs her she is also sick and we see Jessica has lost all her hair and her face is deformed. Elsa tells Jessica to stay still and not move till backup comes. Jessica does not listen and goes towards Elsa, who shoots her and injures Jessica. Jessica runs away from there and Elsa goes behind her and shoots her again to stop her. Elsa comes to Jessica and informs her that they need her blood to create the vaccine. Jessica says she just wanted to see the world and comes to know about all persons who died because of infection. Jessica tries to run again, but Elsa shoots her in the head this time and kills her. Elsa cries and informs her team about Jessica and holds her hand to comfort her in her last moments. We see that the team has erased all information about Jessica from the internet. Later, we see Elsa at her home and her caretaker has come to meet her. He explains Elsa about the changes she will have to do due to her health condition. While talking to Elsa, he starts coughing and Elsa notices this and gets worried. Maybe Elsa is now the new carrier of virus and spreading it and the movie ends.